It's fantastic to be here today. It's actually my first time ever in Montreal, indeed my first time ever in Canada, so it's amazing to have the opportunity to speak at this Deep Learning Summit. It's also great to see so many of you have got your phones and laptops with you, so I'll be competing for your attention with all the best films ever made, jokes, video clips, as well as connection to your family and friends, and of course your work email, but I'm very much looking forward to the challenge. What I'm going to talk to you about is launching AI in enterprise. It's actually the first time I've given this presentation, so it's a bit of an exclusive for you, but it's very much from an enterprise perspective. Before I start, let me just run through what you're going to get in the next 20 minutes. Effectively, I'll introduce myself, and then I will take you on the journey that we've been on at Deutsche Telekom. It's been quite an interesting journey. It's been a journey of transformation and change. And then I will wrap up with 8 critical success factors for you to take away. I guess from what I'm giving you here is a perspective purely from the industry, maybe not from this industry here, machine learning experts. I just wanted to introduce myself. I actually wanted to start at home. So I'm British. I live in Bonn in Germany, and I work for Deutsche Telekom, and you folks will know it as T-Mobile. I've been running the AI program there for the last 18 months. We've launched a VDA, a virtual digital assistant, in Austria in March of this year, and we will launch other products both in Austria and in Germany later on this year. We've been focusing very much just on customer care as an area within DT for machine learning, artificial intelligence, and we will move on to other areas within the company as well as other NatCos, we call them, other T-Mobile organizations around Europe in the coming years. The reason I started with this picture is, does anybody know where this is? It's a place called Cromford in Derbyshire in Great Britain. This is where Sir Richard Arkwright developed his water frame. This revolutionized the mass production of cloth. He is often described as the grandfather and the godfather of the Industrial Revolution. And you've heard AI being described as the 4th industrial revolution, I'm sure. However, it's not always seen like that. It's quite often mistrusted, feared, disliked, and misunderstood. The majority of the corridor conversations I've had around our building talking about AI, we tend not to talk about Sir Richard Arkwright, but this man. Terminator 2, Skynet, Miles Dyson. This is the genuine fear people have about AI, that we're all going to develop robots. Well, maybe Clements is going to develop robots, and we will move forward into an area where humans aren't in control. The second fear within our enterprise is that people's jobs are going to disappear. This chart really didn't help me. This is from 2013. I'm sure some of you have seen it before, from Martin's business school in Oxford. And you can see the employment and probability of computerization. And on the right-hand side, the 3 biggest colors are office support, sales, and service, which is right into the heartland of what a telco does. So most people, when they thought about AI, thought about Terminator 2 and losing their jobs, which, as you can admit, isn't a great start. So what do we do to arrest this? How do we change this? How do we make people think, okay, AI is a good thing? First of all, we started with the customer problem rather than focusing on the tech. We were working in customer care. We found out that most of our customers, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this as well, found that they didn't like having to speak to us because they had to repeat their name, they had to repeat their account details or their problem numerous times and say the same thing again and again and again. We also found this was true of our agents. They got bored of doing the same job again and again and again every single day. They wanted to focus more on value creation and solving complex customer problems, rather than simply doing the same thing. The second thing that we did is we defined a role for AI. People didn't understand what it did, what it does. AI in our company, and I'm sure in many companies, is a very big buzzword. It can mean absolutely anything, which is quite dangerous, as people don't understand how it can help. So we defined a clear role for what we meant for AI. And at Deutsche Telekom, we defined it as something that can listen, learn, optimize, and act. This was enormously helpful for us because people understood what we were trying to do and that we were trying to help our customers. It also needs to be related to what you're doing on a corporate level. This phrase, making our customers' lives easier, is literally engraved on the wall at headquarters in Bonn, in Germany. And apologies for the picture. My wife and I always look like that when we're looking at our phones with those lovely white trousers on. And we got, yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to make an important salient point. You need to link what you're doing in AI to the company structure, to the company strategy, to the vision that people have bought into, to the vision that we told our shareholders, so that people can trust it and have confidence in what you're doing. Without that, you'll have a lot of questions, you'll have a lot of fear, and people will try and ruin what you're doing because of those factors. I mean, who wouldn't want to if you were faced with this versus Terminator and the possibility of losing your jobs? Another question I often get asked is, why have you done this? Why did you start on this journey 18 months ago? Why didn't you just use Google or Facebook? It's important for us to do it so that we can use our own data. We, as a telco, as you can imagine, have a lot of data. However, most of it isn't readily available. You can't get it at the snap of a finger. You have to wait. You have to wait till it's collated. You have to wait till it's passed our very stringent compliance tests. You have to wait till it's passed our very stringent tests to do with data privacy or security. And that's why it's necessary to start this process now. The second reason is that in the last 18 months, 2 years, we've learned an enormous amount about our customer. Within customer care, we've learned the language that they speak. We've learned how they want to talk. We've learned how they want to approach processes rather than how we want to approach them. And we've learned exactly what their problems are rather than what the business assumes the problems are. So we now have a genuine customer insight into what we're doing. So there's just 2 reasons why we needed to get going immediately. We at Deutsche Telekom use a lot of partners. We partner with solutions providers, startups. We're always involved with partnering. It's one of our core focuses in our company strategy, win-win with partners. However, when you start this AI journey, it's incredibly overwhelming. This is just a snapshot of AI startups in Israel. But the choice worldwide is obviously huge. 20 people are always doing the same idea. So how do you choose a startup? How do you choose a solution provider? These are the challenges we had to go through. So we came up with 3 main things to look at when you're considering a solution provider or a startup. Firstly, the complexity of the solution. If you wanted a particularly complex solution, for example, our VDA required NLP as well as a dialogue management system, the solution may not be available off the shelf. You may have to make it together with your startup or with your solution provider. So you may not be actually saving any time in your route to market, and that your time to market may also increase. Secondly, if you are working in a particularly specific domain or with a particularly small language, for example, a European language like German, the data may not be available. Solution providers may not have any data. They simply may not be able to provide what you want. Thirdly, have a thought for transaction costs and the transparency thereof. We found when we were doing POCs that sometimes the companies themselves didn't understand the transaction costs involved. We found that we were getting bills weeks after the POCs had finished because they didn't know the transaction costs involved in building the solution. So those are just 3 watch-outs to have when you're looking at this area. Firstly, the complexity of the solution. Secondly, the availability of data, the language that you're using. And thirdly, making sure you're aware of what the transaction costs are. At Deutsche Telekom, we've tried to develop an AI ecosystem that is vendor agnostic and flexible. We, like Dick Fosbury here, want to be as disruptive as possible to give the best possible solutions to our clients and customers. We need to be flexible because when new products from the AI world or different components come on the marketplace, We need to be able to use them. We need to be able to adapt. If customers' needs or behaviors are changing, we need to be able to change the way that we're working to suit them. It's also vital for us to be vendor agnostic. We don't want to be locked in to any specific vendor. We don't want to have to say, no, we can't change. We have to provide an ecosystem that can change and grow with the AI world. This is particularly important for us. We're now looking at launching new products in Germany later this year, as I mentioned, and we will also go into other NatCos, and we will also go into other areas within DT who also would like to benefit from using AI. This is perhaps the most important slide. We want to deliver to our customers a more precise, more enjoyable, more accurate experience. We want to get rid of all those repetitions. We want to use machine learning for the first time in an organization where machine learning hasn't been used. How do we do this when we're spread across 5 different sites, 3 different countries, and involving 60+ people? We try and create an attitude. We try and create an attitude where we strive to be the best team we possibly can be by being the team that learns the fastest. And how do we do this? We try and have fun. We all know we're at work 75% of the week. We might as well enjoy it. We empower people. We let them go for it. We explain that they're part of one team, one ethic. And we allow people to go and innovate. That sometimes means go and fail, of course, but we like to turn it as going and learning. So when looking at launching AI in enterprise, there are 8 success factors I want to draw your attention to. Firstly, establish trust. Move away from Skynet. Move towards something that people can trust and understand. Focus on the customer problem first rather than on the tech. Ensure that you can define what you mean by AI. People will simply not know what AI means, machine learning, deep learning, anything you would like to know. They will not know what role it plays within the company. Link it back into the corporate vision. Make people understand you're trying to help the company, help the customers. It's important to explain the necessity to start now, that this takes time, that the data, although it is there, is not readily available to use, that you can learn from the get-go. When looking at that complicated, difficult, complex world of solution providers and startups, make sure that you're clear on the money, on the complexity of the solution, and the data that you're being offered by the solution providers. One of our biggest bugbears from our vendors is that what we've agreed hasn't been produced, and it's very hard to explain how to the management. Produce an AI ecosystem that is flexible and agnostic, so you can change with the market. Don't be tied into any one thing. Don't be tied into any one vendor. Allow yourselves the ability to use new components. Allow yourselves the ability to use the dynamism of the market that we have. And lastly, and probably most importantly, focus on the people. Make sure that they're happy. Make sure that they're motivated. Make sure that they understand what they're doing. And make sure that they feel the ability to be able to innovate at all times. And if they have a new idea, to be able to go for it and make it themselves. I just want to finish with a plug, an advert even. It's called We Love AI. It's a website, and we've created our own websites at Deutsche Telekom so that we can report the interesting articles there and video clips about artificial intelligence. You'll learn a bit more about our team there. You'll also learn that we are always looking for new vendors. We're always looking for new ideas. So if you're interested and want to chat to me over the next couple of days, I'll be here until Wednesday evening, and it'd be great to be able to speak to you. Secondly and lastly, we will also like to say we're also hiring. We're looking for machine learning engineers. We're looking for experts. We're looking for NLP, NLU experts. So if you'd like to join the team, it would be great to see you. Thank you all very much indeed.